Is it working?
Yeah, I think it's just taking some time. Let me see here if I refresh the page. Yep, it is working.
There we go. It's live. We're live.
All
Great. Hi,
right.
Kim.
So welcome to the Vegan Demon Slayer Part 4, an episode that you will never regret. We have with we have Santos. He's going to be speaking about this. And go ahead, Santos.
Yep. Thank you. And Kimmy, of course. Thanks, Alan. Alan has jumped in to help us today. We've had
Yep.
many technical problems, and apologies to everybody waiting there to hop on today.
um,
Go, Kimmy. We've got
Hello, Santos.
hello.
Can you hear me?
I can.
That's good. Is the other guy lost, or are we ready to go?
Yes, we're going.
Okay. So I just want to say sorry to the people that have tuned in, because obviously, this is a really great show and we've got to do it the times that are set. And just sorry about that, and next week it will be much better. So I just wanted to go straight in and talk about the, if you can hear me, that is, about the dairy. The dairy, I think that there's a lot of people who want to go vegan, and they're still hanging on to their cheese. I think we need to do talk a lot about the cheese, milk, and eggs, because I think that's this is this is where veganism ends, because people are stuck on these products. So yeah, just take it away, Santos.
Yeah, look, these days the industries are so polluted, and there's so much cruelty to animals that it's almost unbearable when you think about it.
Yeah,
Obviously a lot of people are not doing a lot of thinking, and they just all they think about is how nice the cheese tastes. It's very addictive, and
I know. Yeah, totally.
they think a lot about how nice these lovely things, these dainties that we get at the supermarket shelves, how nice they taste when we take them home and cook them and so forth. But they don't realize that a lot of
Yeah,
abuse of animals is going on. It's a lot of cruelty to animals, and they're not thinking about this, and their
yeah,
compassion has been hardened. It's just the same as when we hear
yeah,
about
yeah.
going around.
There's loads and loads of people that can't get off.
Yep, we've got some delay, obviously, so
Yeah, are you
it's a
still
bit.
there?
Yep.
We're having a problem with the line. We've got some delay. I'm really sorry if it's annoying people. um, is the other guy jumping in, or
Yeah, is it the video that's delaying or is it the sound quality?
I
It's
think
the
it's the
sound.
sound, not the video. I think it's the sound.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Never mind. We can plod along. Um,
Never mind. Never
perhaps
mind. Okay. So
I'll,
yeah, going forward.
all right. Perhaps I'll kick it off with the
Hmm.
latest vegan news around the world. There was a there was a mixed martial arts fight that happened last week. Now, I'm not at all into fighting. Okay, so please don't misconstrue this at all.
No.
I'm here to support the intellect and the wisdom and the intelligence and the heart of mankind, and to grow that. I'm not at all in favor of brute strength and how we can fight and punch someone else's head in and kick their butt and everything like that. But
Yeah.
But this situation needs to be addressed because we often find that meat eaters like to brag about how tough they are because they eat meat and they can kick vegans' butts and blah, blah, blah. Well, Nate Diaz absolutely made veganism and the world realize that you can eat natural foods without murder, without eating your friends, and you can kick some butt.
That's right.
Now, Conor McGregor, I like the guy. He's a bit of a braggart, but he's reasonably intelligent, and he's a great fighter. But he was boasting about his meat eating, and his coach was bragging about how vegans are no good. You know, you can never beat anyone that eats meat, blah, blah, blah. Well, and of course, Conor was bragging that he will knock out Nate within 4 rounds. Well, it was the other way around. Nate whipped his butt within 2 rounds, 1.5 rounds. And so what this shows is that even on the physical level, not just the intellectual level, not just the moral level, not just the emotional and the spiritual, but on every level, veganism is superior to corpse, cadaver, carcass crunching.
Totally.
Totally. Even on the physical level. He whipped that guy's butt. I don't like to use those expressions, but this is for people who still are in that materialist mentality that they think about things in physical terms. So I posted heavily on my Facebook page this great story to show people that on every level veganism wins and is superior. And so I had a few comments. One gentleman wrote to me and said, "Oh, what a terrible example. Nate is basically a retarded Neanderthal. You can't even string 2 words together. You're using a terrible example to promote your veganism, ideals, Santos." So let me correct this guy in public, and let me put them in their right place. These people who come out like serpents in the grass and take a bite whenever they cowardly think that they can attack anything that is good and anything that is light promoting and the promoting of good in this world. Let me correct this gentleman.
Mm-hmm.
I have proven beyond all doubt that on every level veganism is superior to meat eating and flesh eating. Intellectually and on an intellectual level and on an intelligent level, veganism is superior. Look at Pythagoras, Plato, Socrates, Da Vinci, Bruno, Pico, Ficino, all the great inventors, Edison, Tesla. These were all vegans. You cannot be a genius and be eating meat. Meat dumbs you down to the level of the animal. So okay, Nate Diaz may not have a great intellect, but we've already proven that intellectually veganism is superior. Morally it's superior because we don't murder. We don't shed blood. We don't lust after the death of our friends. So I've covered that. So I deleted and blocked that guy because that's how I operate. But maybe I shouldn't have. But the point is, I could have maybe elaborated on these points and explained. We don't need to go arguing about veganism. It is superior on every single level, bar none. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's no way that meat eating can be promoted as anything good on any level at all.
Yeah, I think when people eat meat, it does something to their mind and their the cells in their brain. Like, I really believe this. I really believe that when you're not eating the dead and the flesh of animals, I really think it takes you to higher levels. It really does take you to high levels in anything that you want to achieve in life. If you're a vegan, you are going to achieve at it more than a meat eater, and that is I really truly believe this. I really believe that when you're eating positivity, when you're thinking positivity, when you're eating positivity, you know, it comes out in your actions, and it comes out in your you know, everything that you want to do and achieve in life. There's nothing more you won't win more than having a vegan lifestyle and eating the vegan way. The vegan way is the only way, and this is not a cult here. This is truth. This is the truth. When you are eating a plant-based diet, you are on the winner's side. There's no question. And I don't mean having cheese and eggs, because cheese and eggs are low on the vibrationary scale, if you really want my opinion on that.
Yeah,
So,
you can definitely see it. It's a cause and effect situation. You can see it when you walk outside. You can just observe what you see, and you can distinguish between a vegetarian and a meat eater. You can see it in the attitude. You can see it in that a meat eater is losing perfection, becoming more sloppy, becoming more
yeah.
lazy. Um,
No,
and then
you're
the
absolutely
vegetarian.
right. No, it's true. Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And for someone who's made that observation already, you know, that's a really good sign, because I've made those observations. I've made the observations. I saw somebody in the supermarket the other day. She came in and she just, you know, looked at the meat, and I looked at her, and she was, for want of a better word, she was ugly. She had horrible energy. Her face was just distorted. It completely takes the light out of a person when they're eating meat. It completely distorts their energy. And it might sound extreme to those who are eating meat, but when you haven't eaten meat for 5 years, you come and tell me there's a difference. Because there's a huge difference between a person eating a light diet and a dark diet, because that's what it is, and that's what I call it. There's a light diet, and then there's a dark diet. You choose the light or you choose the dark. It's entirely your choice.
Lovely. Very true. And yeah, I've noticed this myself, and in particular, I like to remind people that syncretism came to me 8 years ago when I became vegetarian and vegan. So
Yeah.
before that, I remember being lost in the land of confusion, not knowing how to understand the theological works, and not understanding them correctly, and not understanding all the great holy sciences. And I will always attribute my awakening, my true awakening, not when I was a Jehovah's Witness for 30 years knocking on people's door. That was not awakened. My true awakening was when syncretism, when everything synced up in my heart and in my mind, after I stopped eating dead corpse. And great realizations came to me, and I thank the heavens. And this is why I'm so emphatic and so zealous about this subject. As you said, it's not a cult.
Yeah.
These meat eaters, in defense of their vile, guilty conscience for their bloodlust, will always point the finger at veganism and will always attack it erroneously with fallacious reasoning, because they're protecting their bad habits. And this is what we're trying to reach out to people to try and stop doing this. You can't continue defending this. We do not have to eat our friends. We can actually, in fact, in past times, you could go to a tree, and whatever fell off the tree was ripe. You could just pick that up, and there was no death involved, Because, of course, you see, they retort and they say, oh, at the moment you pick an apple off a tree, you're killing it. Well, no, you're not. Because in the past, they always only ate what was ripe and what fell off the tree fresh. That was already finished. It completed its cycle, and therefore it was able to be ingested by the human being and used at its peak because it was ripe. And so these are all fallacious reasoning, guys, and it's so sad to see, but let's hope that we can reach out with reason to these people and help them to see that you know, there's only one pure way, and it is the human way to not lust after this kind of eating, which requires the murdering of sentient beings, because that's what they are. They are sentient.
Exactly. And there's a lot of I call them David Icke types, if I'm allowed to say that on live, who are regurgitating a lot of sort of like, I don't know, like kind of stuff that I don't want to hang around like on Facebook too long on, like, you know, like wars and warmongering and all that kind of stuff. And these types of people as well, because they're kind of stuck on one level, like they're not into like the transcendental stuff. And once you get to that place, that's when you are going to stop being attracted to eating meat. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Basically, once you get spirituality in your heart, real spirituality, real knowledge, you will not want to even be attracted to eating meat or any of the stuff that comes out of an animal. You just won't. And I do think it is part of a journey. I do think that sometimes it takes a bit of time for a person to jump onto the journey. But nevertheless, if you have true syncretism, the syncretist diet is the vegan diet. And I think, you know, it's about time that we all came onto this. Even if you're, you know, just do it. You've just got to do it and stop feeding into the dairy, because dairy, like I said in one of my videos, is even worse than meat in some cases, because dairy cows get much abused and they suffer. And, you know, so I think some people think, oh, you know, they're not really suffering. They are suffering. They're suffering a hell of a lot, because we are still feeding into these entities, feeding into the dairy and the meat industries. You know, it has to stop, because they are suffering, and they're not going to forget, and then they get their karma back. So, yeah.
They do get their karma back, and how they do that is through the physique of meat eaters. There are no obese vegans on the planet.
No.
Not one.
No, that's right. Vegan, no, there is not. There's people that eat rice and beans and fruit and vegetables. These are the healthiest people on the planet. You don't need a nutritionist to tell you that. You don't need to go to a doctor or a food doctor or anyone to tell you what healthy foods are. These are fruit and vegetables. You know, even for my dinner tonight, you know, I had just, you know, plain potatoes and lentils. I mean, some people might think that's totally boring, but actually it's very, very healthy, and I'm not harming anybody, and it keeps my body and my cells light. So it's very easy to be a vegan as well. It's very, very easy.
Yeah, the other thing is there are no vegans in all the armies that are killing and butchering other human beings on the planet. Vegans do not kill.
No, vegans don't kill.
That's right. There are no obese vegans. There are no vegans who have all of these critical problems that diseases such as meat eaters get, cancers and heart disease and constipation and all of these things. Now, this is another fallacious way that meat eaters get around, avoiding their moral responsibility of complicitness in murder. They will look at poor examples of vegans who don't know how to eat properly. For instance, they eat a lot of soy. Now, soy is probably worse than most of the soy. It's genetically modified. A lot of vegans have been educated incorrectly through social media and through naturopaths and ill advisors that if they get off meat, they'll need protein through soy. This is very, very harmful. It's worse than meat. And so they've got to get off that crap, and they've got to learn how to eat a lot more raw food. And so perhaps meat eaters should look at the good examples of vegans like Nate Diaz, who whipped the butt of a meat eater who was boasting that he was going to, knock him out within 4 rounds, and he got chopped up to pieces and bloodied up in 2 rounds. And by the way, for those who might think, oh yes, well this is a one-off, it's never going to happen again. Oh, it's going to continue happening. Vegans are going to whip the butts of meat eaters on every level, morally, spiritually, intellectually, intelligence, mentally, emotionally, and physically forevermore, because they're coming out more and there are more practicing this, and they're gonna sort out the truth of diet quite easily and efficiently by proving that there is only one superior diet for human beings, and that is vegetables and fruits. There was a kickboxer called Amawali Adewale. I believe that's how to pronounce his name. He won the kickboxing championship, and he's a writer and an author. He's written a book about veganism, and he is the world welterweight or featherweight, I'm not sure, champion. And so, again, another vegan whips the butt of a meat eater. Why? Because if you ingest death, well, death begets death. How can you get energy from death? You've got to get energy from life, from electrical voltage, and raw food and vegetables and fruit have pure electrical voltage. Cooked, dead corpse has no benefit at all, and you can't get iron out of it because it's the wrong isotope. It's the isotope, I believe, is number 47, and it is not digestible or it's not able to be metabolized by the human organism. No. So that animal died for nothing, virtually.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, what's the nutritional content in having a Sunday roast dinner and you've got a lamb or a chicken? There's no nutritional content in there, and it's expensive. It takes up money, it takes up energy to cook it. It's a complete waste of time. There's nothing in there that you're going to get which is going to benefit you and your body. I think that we need to let go of the old ways of living, and that's in every sense, the old belief systems, old everything. And I think meat is really part of that. I think having meat as part of your diet is a very old-fashioned, if you want to call it that, almost a tradition that people can't let go of. It's just an idea,
An old one.
Very old. Yeah, totally.
Let me share with you something from Plutarch from the 1st century. Plutarch was an eclectic, and of course he lived in the 1st century 400 or 500 years after Plato and 300 odd years before the Neoplatonist school. So he's not actually a Neoplatonist, but he is an eclectic, which is another word for a syncretic. Syncretism, eclecticism, same word. And this is what he said, and I like this quote because I was a professional musician for many years, and I used to play gigs, many gigs for very, very wealthy people. I played for Bill Gates in Las Vegas at MGM Grand Arena in 2001. My duo opened for his keynote address at Comdex, which was the IT expo in Las Vegas, the world's largest at the time. I went to India and played for Vijay Malla, India's richest man, owns all the shipping in India, for Louis Vuitton's 150th birthday with my duo. And in Australia, I've played for Fox, Fox, and all of these rich men, Lindsay Fox, at their weddings, their children's weddings. I've played for some of the richest jewelers down in Melbourne at their banquets, and I've seen the way they eat and how many carcasses of dead animals go wasted. And this is what Plutarch said 2,000 years ago. Alas, for our savage inhumanity. It is a terrible thing to see the table of rich men decked out by those layers out of corpses, the butchers and cooks. A still more terrible sight is the same table after the feast, for the wasted relics are even more than the consumption. These victims, then, have given us their lives uselessly. As other times, from mere niggardliness, the host will grudge to distribute the dishes, and yet he grudged not to deprive innocent beings of their existence. Well, I have taken away the excuse of those who allege that they have the authority and sanction of nature. For that man is not by nature carnivorous is proved, in the first place, by the external frame of his body. Seeing that none of the animals designed for living on flesh has the human body any resemblance. He has no curved beak, no sharp talons and claws, no pointed teeth, no intense power of stomach or heat of blood, which might help him to masticate and digest the gross and tough flesh substance. On the contrary, by the smoothness of his teeth, the small capacity of his mouth, the softness of his tongue, and the sluggishness of his digestive apparatus, nature sternly forbids him to feed on flesh.
That's absolutely right. We're not meant to be eating this. Not meant to be eating meat.
If the creator, I mean, it's really simple. If the creator, if meat was supposed to be digested, it would grow.
Yeah.
It would grow off of a plant. You'd be able to pick meat off of a plant.
Yeah, it's true. Nature has it all set out for us. I mean, for example, vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 isn't that much needed in the body, although it is to a degree, but we only need tiny amounts of it. If we needed more of it, we would have a lot more in abundance within our plants and our vegetables, but we don't. Does that make sense? Like, we don't.
I can relate to that. I think that makes sense. I'll try to relate to that. For example, like when I go shopping and I go to get a sweet potato that's organic, it's super small, and one that's non-organic, it's like super huge. And it's like it's almost nature saying, "Look, this is all you need."
Yeah. No, it's true. And the more people are swayed against their natural intelligence and their natural intuition, that's when they do get fat, and that's when they do eat all the wrong foods, because they're not going within their own body's rhythms, which is basically to eat vegetables. And most people, if you ask them, if you actually talk with people, a lot of them are attracted to vegetarian food. They like vegetarian food because it's, the vegetarian or the vegan food is resonating with them. And meat, I don't know who would even have meat resonate with them. I think I think it's impossible, actually. I just think that people eat meat because it's a tradition, and that's what they're taught to do, and that's what they think they're meant to do to be healthy. So yeah, we seem to have somebody joining here.
Yeah, and the part.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. You interject.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think meat does actually resonate, but it's just it's a dark one. It's not an appropriate one. It's a stinky, filthy, rotten resonant. That is just it doesn't even ring out. It's just.
Mhm. No, well, it's true.
Go, Kimmy.
Yeah, I think when I look at people's shopping trolleys, when I go into the supermarket, they've got minced beef and all this stuff, and I think, how long is that going to be like inside your body, and does that really resonate with you? Does that really resonate with you, that food? No, it doesn't. But they still eat it anyway. I think it's tradition, and we might sound like we're being judgmental by doing these shows, but we're not, because we are actually pointing something out, which is the truth. We are pointing out something that is happening, and that is that people eat stuff that doesn't resonate with them. And I think that's the whole point of syncretism, is it not? Is that it's about going with going with your intuition, and going with life, and in a positive life, not a negative life. Like I say, the light diet versus the dark diet, right?
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of meat eaters, they have goals. They have goals. They want to achieve something, and that's what drives them to keep waking up in the day and going through and burning a lot of energy and mental effort to achieve their goals. And if there was nobody to put their foot on the ground and say this is not good and this is good, then these meat eaters, they would never be able to achieve their goals. They would end up in destruction over time.
Well, they are in destruction, actually, because their bodies are going into states of disease as we speak. As they shovel this stuff into their mouth, they're giving themselves diseases. And it might not be a disease that you can directly see, but it's a disease that they are manifesting within their body through eating the death of an animal. They are actually setting themselves up to be getting karma, and that is through diseases.
It is. The more I've noticed by watching my relatives and people who consume a lot of meat, the more they eat, the more wrinkly they are. They look like dried prunes. It tends to
true.
It tends to dry the flesh and make it hard. The flesh is not supple anymore. And another thing is they have bad breath. You can't get close to a meat eater. Their breath stinks. I'm very, very. I have a great sense of smell, and I have to stand away from them and stay in the wind. Now, you won't get bad breath from a vegan because they haven't got any stinking rotten carcass in their intestines. They're not full of parasites that are pooing in their blood and making their body pussy and pooey smelling, because their pores emanate a stench. And I not only smell it, I feel that stench. I feel the dead carcass trying to come out through the pores of the individual. So not only do they look like dried up prunes, but they actually smell like it. And this is sad. I mean, surely you've got meat eaters have got mirrors in their homes, and have a look. If you're starting to get, rings around your tummy and your bottom is starting to sag, that's because the animal shape is coming through the organism. When you go walk down the street and you can see all of these outer-shaped bodies, you can tell what animals they're eating. I can see the swine eaters, I can see the beef eaters, I can see the fish eaters, the so-called pescatarians. I can see the goat, the lamb eaters. You can see how it affects their shape. Their shape is distorted. If you want to get back, if you want to get back to your teenage true shape, you have to go vegan, and then you will reacquire, the DNA will reset. It will shed all the animal blood in the system, and you will reset. Your DNA knows how to go back, and you will go back to your original form. You won't smell, no more stinky poos, no more bad breath, no more wrinkles. You'll actually get rid of the wrinkles. I remember in the 30s, I was starting to get a few wrinkles here. And I thought, my God, no, I don't want to start getting wrinkly. And so, yeah, it's amazing, because when I was, 8 years ago when I started going vegan, I started seeing the moisture come back into my body, and all those things just ironed out and cleaned up. It was beautiful. But going back to your point, Alan, about we should be able to pick it up, we should be able to pick the meat from a tree. Here's Plutarch, brother. Have a listen to this. This is just an awesome quote, because I always say this to people. If you were supposed to be a meat eater, you should be able to just run out into the wild and jump on an animal with your hands and with your teeth and shred it to pieces, and it should be natural for you to be able to do that, like a lion does, like a carnivorous animal does. Whereas you can't do that. You need knives, forks, ovens, plates, frying pans, pots, guns, bows and arrows, swords, spears, javelins, traps, and all kinds of devices to capture those animals and then to cook them. So here's Plutarch, and he says, if in spite of all this, you still affirm that you were to begin with, kill yourself what you wish to eat. But do it yourself with your own natural weapons, without the use of butcher's knife or axe or club. No, as the wolves and lions and bears themselves slay all they feed on, so in like manner do you kill the cow or ox with a grip of your jaw, or the pig with your teeth, or the hair of a lamb by falling upon and rending them there and then. Having gone through all these preliminaries, then sit down to your repast. If, however, you wait until the living and intelligent existence be deprived of life, and if it would disgust you to have to rend out the heart and shed the lifeblood of your victim, why, I ask in the very face of nature, and in despite of her, do you feed on beings endowed with sentient life? But more than this, not even, after your victims have been killed, will you eat them just as they are from the slaughterhouse? You boil, roast, and altogether metamorphose them by fire and condiments. You entirely alter and disguise the murdered animal by use of 10,000 sweet herbs and spices, that your natural taste may be deceived and be prepared to take the unnatural food. A proper and witty rebuke was that of the Spartan who bought a fish and gave it to his cook to dress. When the latter asked for butter and olive oil and vinegar, he replied, "Why, if I had all these things, should I have not brought the fish?" To such a degree do we make luxuries of bloodshed that we call flesh a delicacy, and forthwith require delicate sauces for this same flesh meat. Someone needs to mute their mic. For delicate sauces for the same flesh meat, and mix together oil and wine and pickle and vinegar with all the spices of Syria and Arabia, for all the world as though we were embalming a human corpse. after all these heterogeneous matters have been mixed and dissolved and in a manner corrupted, it is for the stomach, forsooth, to masticate and assimilate them, if it can. And though this may be for a time accomplished, the natural sequence is a variety of diseases produced by imperfect digestion and repletion. So in other words, he's saying, why, he says to his cook, why did I buy the fish if I need sauce and vinegar and salt and all this other rubbish? Why did I buy the fish?
Mm-hmm.
So in other words, we go out of our way to disguise the murdered stench of blood and the cry of the animal crying, why did you murder me? I was happy to be alive. When your stomach can't even digest me, you can't take the protein, you can't take the iron, and it's just going to putrefy in your intestines and cause bowel cancer and all other diseases apart from ugliness and stench. Pointless.
Yeah, it's totally true. I love those quotes out of those books, Santos. You should do some more.
Yep, I've got plenty more, sister. I've got plenty more. In fact, I will, because I love these guys. I love the eclectics or the Neoplatonists, or call them the syncretists. That's what we've come to be familiar with. And they put everything into perspective. And this is 2,000 years ago, guys. We haven't made much progress at all. And why? Simple. Because demons have infested this plane. We are believing more in men's theories and demon theories than in absolute truth. Because these half-truthers teach that there is no truth. So they're all deluded. They are the blind leading the blind. And look at them. They're all sick. And they're all about to die of some kind of a disease. They're all going to hospital, taking pills, suffering, losing sleep at night because their bowels are congested and constipated. They've got piles, so every time they go to the toilet, they have to tuck all of their insides back in. Ugh, man, I just can't imagine what it'd be like to have piles. Oh my God, that's from eating. That's from eating carcass. There's only one way. Vegans don't get piles. Imagine that stuff hanging out of your anus. Oh my God, and the itch. And these people go around itching all the time, and they're tucking in all these little bits of their bum. You know, they've got to tuck their bums back in because it's hanging out because of all the animal poo that's coming out of their backsides and pushing their their anus bits outside of their nothing that's inside your body should be poking outside of your body, guys. Maybe your tongue. But nothing from your backside. Nothing from your backside should be sticking outside. That is disgusting. Piles belongs to some kind of demented demon-worshipping cult, which is meat eating. There's no way a vegan will get piles, man. That is the most disgusting crap I've ever heard of. Ooh, ooh. I mean, and these bloodlust demented people will be happy to stick their knives and poking in a piece of cow bum or pig's bum and live with piles at the same time. I mean, do your thinking, work it out. I got piles. What makes that stuff stick out of my bum? It's got to be the karma of eating meat.
It is the karma.
Of course it is.
Yeah, definitely. Like, you don't see vegetarians and vegans that have colon cancer, which is what you're basically referring to. You just don't see it because they're eating a fiber-rich diet, right? Like the meat diets are not fiber-rich. They are colon-clogging diets. That's the end of it.
Period. Say no more. And so,
Exactly.
look, it is my heart's intent and wish that all flesh eaters will repent of this gross, demented habit. It is pure demon worship. Please, anyone who is a meat eater and listening to this, please don't be stumbled by my forthrightness and my own creepy way of delivering truth. I know that I fail many times in that I attack the stupidity of humanity, but I love one and all and am reaching out to everyone's hearts. As Leonardo da Vinci said, and Pythagoras, we will continue murdering each other while we continue murdering animals. Please let us put away this insanity. We can have paradise tomorrow. We can have music and dancing and rejoicing, and we can all look at each other in our eyes, eye to eye. We can look into our eyes, brothers and sisters, and we can have love and guilt-free from bloodshedding. We can all be guilt-free from bloodshedding. We can all be syncretic. We can all be beautiful and clean and fresh and ascending. You cannot ascend with an acidic body and meat eating. Let us be sane, people. We are intelligent human beings. Everyone. One and all. Here's just another quote from Plutarch.
Yeah,
Nothing,
love those.
Yeah. And I've got plenty more, believe you me. I will always have these quotes on every show till the 100th show that we do, till the 1000th show, sister. Here we go. Does it not shame you to mingle murder and blood? Someone is typing very, very loud there, guys.
Timmy,
Someone needs...
we can hear you type.
Sorry.
How's this? Does it not shame you to mingle murder and blood with their beneficent fruits? Other carnivora, you can savage and ferocious. Other carnivora you call savage and ferocious, lions and tigers and serpents, while yourselves come behind them in no species of barbarity. And yet for them, murder is the only means of sustenance, whereas to you it is a superfluous luxury and crime. For in point of fact, we do not kill and eat lions and wolves, as we might do in self-defense. On the contrary, we leave them unmolested, and yet the innocent and the domesticated and helpless and unprovided with weapons of offense, these we hunt and kill, whom nature seems to have brought into existence for their beauty and gracefulness. Nothing. Sorry guys, I just got a call. I'll just let him know that I'm on a show. This is a so, nothing puts us out of countenance, not the charming beauty of their form, not the plaintive sweetness of their voice or cry, not their mental intelligence, not the purity of their diet, not the superiority of understanding. For the sake of a part of their flesh only, we deprive them of the glorious light of the sun of the life for which they were born. The plaintive cries they utter, we affect to take to be meaningless, whereas in fact they are entreaties and supplications and prayers addressed to us by each, which say, is it not the satisfaction of your real necessities? Sorry, I want to get this right. It is not the satisfaction of your real necessities we deprecate, but the wanton indulgence of your appetites. Kill to eat if you must or will, but do not slay me that you may feed luxuriously. You see, this is what the animals are saying when they cry. We can't understand their voice because they're not speaking English. But what are they saying? Well, I'll read it again. Shall I?
Do it up.
It is not the satisfaction of your real necessities we deprecate, but the wanton indulgence of your appetites. Kill to eat if you must or will, but do not slay me that you may feed luxuriously. What does this mean? Well, like you said before, Elaine, you did say that should we not be able to go and pick something up off a tree without murdering and slaughtering and ingesting such food? Why do we have to take the sunlight and the light and the breath of another living sentient being so that we can have a portion of their rump, a little slice of their bum, so that we can ingest that and all the rest goes in the bin? Why do we have to?
Unnecessary. Totally unnecessary.
It's wanton.
Yeah, it's gluttonous.
Yes, and the scriptures say, be forewarned, for gluttons will not inherit God's kingdom. And a lot of people like to quote the Bible and pretend that it's actually sanctioning, you know, the murder of sentient beings and eating of flesh. It does not. It absolutely does not. The Bible says, thou shalt not kill. And it clearly says gluttons will not inherit God's kingdom. What is a glutton if not a flesh eater? They will not inherit God's kingdom. I've been saying this for years. You will not and cannot ascend your Christic oils and ascend the fluids up to the pineal gland and reactivate the dormant brain cells and be ascended and go to Vrindavan, our true home in the heavens. You will not go to this beautiful place. These are pictures, these are Christian, Hindu, Islamic depictions of what bliss will be in heaven when we return to our glorious Creator, Radharani, Krishna, Shiva, Brahma, Vishnu, Jesus, Christ, Allah, whatever you want to call it, it's fine by me, the source creator. We will return there one day, folks. Meat eaters will take a lot longer. They will get there eventually, but there will be much suffering in the interim. And all we're trying to do is try to stop to alleviate that suffering. I want meat eaters more than anything to be saved and to be happy and joyous and blissful and join us. And we will all return together, hand in hand, shoulder to shoulder. We can do it and we will do it. But we must start to pay heed and stop defending murderous, lustful bloodletting of sentient animals. We can't do this. We cannot continue doing this, folks. Please, listen to your hearts. Don't listen to your misinformed, educated, fat head disease and what you've learnt at your church and what you've learnt at school and through other people and nutritionists that say a little bit of pork is good for you and blah, blah, blah. Listen to your heart and go and do what Plutarch says. Go and murder that animal yourself. Slit its throat and butcher it yourself and then eat it with the blood dripping like true carnivorous creatures do. Do that and then see how much longer you'll be a meat eater. Please.
Yeah, but we wrap it in nice packages and send it to stores, and then family walks in there all jolly and all talking about random stuff. They don't even realize it. They pick up the meat without giving it 1 second of a thought. It's second nature for them.
It is. Basically. It's so wrong.
It is. And so
But they're going to go to the void, aren't they, Santos?
they will go to the void.
When
It's
they
very
die.
Yep. This is what will happen
Yeah.
to meat eaters. Please let me share this and we can conclude with this thought, please. Because if they've got any sense and any heart and any intelligence at all, they will pay heed to this. Okay? Let me just share this. I've shared this image before from Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is very, very clear. This Bhagavad means God and Gita means song. This is the song of God. This is the essence of the Upanishads and the Vedas and the Puranas and Mahabharata and Ramayana. It's all here in Bhagavad Gita. All you need to do is read this book and there will be salvation. You will be ascended and saved. And this book, you can read it in 30 minutes. You can read Bhagavad Gita in 30 minutes. If you want to read all the purports, well, that will take longer. But you can definitely read Bhagavad Gita and you will have salvation in 30 minutes. But here, meat eaters are called dog eaters. They are not respected, and they will go to the void. And the void is a place where you will be unconscious, probably forever. Probably forever. There is hope of getting out of that void, but you will not go to Vrindavan to be with and one and different to God, the Creator, because that's the true doctrine. The true doctrine is this, and the eclectics and the syncretists and the Neoplatonists and the Hermetists and the Kabbalists of old have always said that when we return to the glory of Source, we will be one with the Creator with difference, which means we will keep our individuality. Kimmy, you will always be Kimmy. I will always be me, and Elaine, you will always be yourself, and everybody else on this call, you will always have your personality and individuality for all of eternity, but you will be one forever with the Creator. But should you persist in your meat-eating habits, you will not realize, you will not self-realize. You will not have this grand blessing. And this is what all the other half-truths are not telling you. You will only get that from this show and similar shows like this, from real truthers, absolute truthers, folks.
Yeah, truth.
There it is, guys. That is what will happen to you before you go to the void. You will reincarnate as a beast, and the beasts that you ate will eat you. You will be eaten. You will experience what you are experiencing, the eating of murdered sentient beings, which is not your right and it is not within your ability and jurisdiction to do such a thing. You have no jurisdiction over murdering animals. You have jurisdiction over looking after and caring for animals. Look at your pets. Look at your beautiful dog. Look in the eyes of your dog. Would you imagine pulling out a sharp knife and slitting its throat and cooking its nose for a delicate little bit of titbit and invite your friends over for a bit of dog ear and a bit of dog testicles and a bit of dog toes and dog intestines? Would you do that to your dog Butch? Would you do that to your cat? Would you do that to your pet? Have a look in the eyes of a cow next time you go into the field and have a look at how much compassion cows have. Have a look into their eyes and you will see the mother goddess in the eyes of a cow. You will not see anything else but compassion and love for humanity. And they fear humans because they know humans have a great ability of killing and murdering because they have been deceived by demons. Demons have infested this plane to keep us eating animals and murdering so that we can keep reincarnating here so that the elites like George Bush and Hillary Clinton can have a whole bunch of slaves, making them more and more rich. And that's the trick, guys. We've got to get out of this trick, and we can do it. First and foremostly, we must stop murdering. Thou shalt not kill. Thank you, guys.
It's absolutely true. Are you there, Elaine?
I am there,
Alan?
yes.
Alan? Yeah. So, absolutely what Santos says is about the void. It is 100%. I can feel it in my heart, actually. I can feel it within my body. You can just feel it, and when you meet other vegans, you can see in their eyes the light and the love that they have. And that light and that love is in animals' eyes too, like Santos is saying. If you go and look, if we look into animals' eyes, we can see the love that they have. And you know, they don't want to die. They don't want to die. And it's up to us to look after them, and it's why we're doing these shows. And these shows are so important to awaken people's consciousness, to get them off of this disgusting habit that they have. And that's all I have to say about that.
It will take some time, but people are eventually going to realize.
Yeah.
Here's one tip I'd like to give to any persistent meat eater out there still. Please go to the supermarket and go to the meat section and have a smell of that. Go in there and have a smell of that stuff. Then go to the fruit section and have a smell of that. Try the difference and smell the vibration and see if you feel comfortable where all those butchers are, where all that blood is.
Yeah.
And if you think that you're comfortable with that, well and good. Take it to the next step. Go down to the abattoirs. Go down to the abattoirs and see the way they are treating chickens, pigs, goats and little calves that are screaming for their mothers because the night before when they were born, they were snatched from their mothers who were crying still in the middle of the night. I've heard it. I come from the country. I'm a country boy. I'm a country bumpkin. I grew up and and there were cattle farms all around, and I could hear, because there were milk farms all around. Australia's a dairy industry big time, and you would hear the mooing of the cows, those beautiful cows, moo, moo, and the pain in their hearts because they'd just given birth to a calf, and the farmer would come along, grab it, and sell it straight away to the abattoirs because people want veal. They want a nice slice of veal.
Yeah, they want their veal.
And the karma is just not worth it, guys. Just not worth it.
No,
Repent. Repent of your sin.
Yeah.
Thanks, Elaine, for hosting. Much appreciated, brother. Thanks,
Yes,
Timmy.
thank you, Elaine.
Not
That's
a problem.
fine.
I will try to I'm gonna try to get an actual connection to my internet because that's what I think it's delaying the video and the audio is the because I'm connected to Wi-Fi. I don't have a direct connection from the Wi-Fi to my computer, so.
Okay, well, Jenna will be with us next week. Perhaps we can work together. I think it works nicely. I appreciate your efforts, Elaine, to help us. We were an hour and a quarter late. Kimmy, it's past midnight for her. Thanks, Kimmy, for joining us because I know in your heart how much truth you have and you want to share with the world this beautiful message. And Elaine, I thank you kindly from the bottom of my heart for putting this on. I just about shed a tear when I felt that we couldn't take this show today because I had so many beautiful things to share, and you came through, brother. Thanks, man. Keep up the truth. Stay on the path.
Thank you.
Not a problem.
Thank you.
See you next week, guys. See you next week.
Bye, Santos. Bye-bye.